Hello, everybody. It's Stephen Mead again. Anyhow, I haven't done a video about my house here in Long Beach. I'm restoring a 1969 Paul Tay custom home in, I guess it's between Bixby Knolls, Memorial Heights, and Wrigley areas of Long Beach, if you know Long Beach. I haven't done a video in a while, and I thought I would do something kind of quick. If you're like me, you like artwork in your house, but finding it, putting it up, organizing it, it's all kind of a giant pain in the ass. I'll just throw it out there. And you get busy, and it's the kind of thing where you end up collecting the art and it sits for a while. And a few years ago, I saw something really cool. The Jet Propulsion Laboratory, which is located in Pasadena, California, put out this series of posters. So they're like tourism posters for our solar system. And I'm gonna lift one of them up here. This is for Europa, which is of course a moon, not our moon. There's another one. They actually made one for Earth, and it says Earth, your oasis in space. And one of the cool things they did with these is that they made these free and available. So the deal was this: you could download the digital files off the JPL website, and you could do pretty much whatever you wanted with them. You were in charge of getting them printed. And my brother, who runs a branding and marketing company, used to have these in his office. They moved to a new office that was pretty much all glass. They didn't have any space for them. He knew I always liked them, so he basically gave me these. And I think they're 12 by 16. And one of the cool things about 12 by 16 is if you go on Amazon, you can get these are really cheap. I think these were like $17 each. So I have, and they're wood. The edges are actually wood. I have 7 of these things, and I'm going to basically just be putting them together. So I probably won't bore you guys with the details of me actually like putting them together because I mean I think most of you know it's a picture frame. You lift up the little tabs, you pull this out, you put in the picture, and then you're done. But what I will do is I'll show you where I'm going to put them and what it looks like when it's done. I'm actually looking to put these downstairs. So I've kind of had a unique spot in my house where I've always wondered like what to do with it. So in my house, the bedrooms and everything are downstairs. And I always thought, wouldn't it be cool, like near the stair landing, to have something that's pretty neat to look at every time that I get up in the morning and head on my way upstairs and up to breakfast. So I'm going to show you that spot where we're doing that and kind of let you guys take a look. Okay, now we're back here, and I promised that I was not going to waste any time and show you guys how to put picture frames together. These are relatively inexpensive frames that came from Amazon. I think Craig's the company that makes them. These frames come completely disassembled, and that means that they don't have the picture wire, they don't have anything on here. And as you can see, we've put these all together. We have our lovely prints. This one's for Europa in it, looking good. And one of the problems that you have is if you are doing a geometric pattern on your wall, it's not so important that you get the right height. What's important is that the pictures are at the right height relative to each other if you're doing them in a row. And this style of frame, unfortunately, is not very precise. So we got this wire here. We might have gotten the tension a little bit tighter on some than we got on others. So this is what I did to kind of mitigate that a little bit. I took a measurement to the middle, which in this case I think is like 6 7/8 inches. And then what I did is I took the tape measure and I put it down. In fact, I can grab one right here and I'll show you exactly what we did. So we lined it up just like this with the edge. Then what I did is I took a pen here and I moved it up as high as I could to simulate where it is. So that gave us a measurement so we know how far down it's hanging. So now when we're going on the wall, we'll have something to go on. We know what the difference is between each of these picture frames, and that will let us set them very close relative to each other. Alrighty, so now we're downstairs in the part where we're actually going to install our pictures, and I have our Europa one right here. And what I've done is I've actually kind of put some tape on the walls just to get a little bit of a visualization. So if you notice here, we have 7 of these from our NASA JPL collection. And what I'm doing is, since our stairwell is here and we're coming down the stairs, we can actually start higher up. So this will give you an idea of how these will look like this: 3 across, then 1, 2 down here. So we're up to 5. And then these will continue at the same level around and down the hall. And this is actually a nice level for me. I'm 5'8", so these are kind of like right at eye level down here. And they're also right at eye level as I'm coming down the stairs. So now comes the fun part. A lot of times I like to use tape, and this is just really thin duct tape. This is great for visualizing exactly how it's going to turn out. And a lot of times there's some experimentation. So now comes the hard part, and that's math. And one of the things when you do projects like this is you want to be as precise as possible. And there's a couple of reasons for that. You might think that even if you're off by just a little bit, and we want these to look straight, even if you are just off by a little bit, um, those errors can compound. What it means by that is you might be off by a little bit here, you're off by a little bit more here, and you're off by a little bit even more there. And those errors can actually add up. So a 16th of an inch, which sounds like a tiny amount that's probably not visible to the naked eye, that can turn into a quarter of an inch after it's compounded. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually take some measurements and we're going to figure out our layout. And what I want to do when I'm doing this is I've already taken a look, and one of the things I've realized by doing this initial tape layout, I haven't taken any measurements yet, is that we actually have a lot more room on this wall width-wise than we do down the hallway. And I want the spacing, the side-to-side spacing, the width, to be equal for both of these walls. I think that's going to add continuity. The idea is that your brain is and your eyes are going to be able to follow along down and around like this. So in order to make sure that spacing is the same, it means we really need to design the spacing for our small wall first. And then that way, however far it ends up on this wall, it'll still look okay. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do now and make some reference marks. Taking our measuring tape, we actually have about 40.5 inches on the wall right behind me, since that's our smaller wall. And we know that we have two widths of pictures to put up. Now, what's interesting about that is if we take our pictures here, and if I'm able to do some decent math, our posters themselves are 12 inches wide. But remember, we have a frame for these, so we need to actually take an accurate measurement on our frame as well. If I can get this tape measure to stick here and not come off. And our width is 13.5 inches. So that means 13.5 times 2, since we have photos, since we have two of these frames across, that actually comes out to 27 inches. So if we have 41.5 inches, actually let me double check that measurement. This is what happens when you make videos and you don't write things down. We've actually got, correct, 40.5 inches, so 40.5. We've got 27 inches there. That means we actually have a difference of 14.5 inches. And it's important to really think about this layout. So what we really have, if we're thinking about the distance between this, is we have a half space if we want even spacing. So from our door casing over here, we have half a space. We have a picture. We have a full width between them. We have our picture. And then we have another half space to the edge, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another half space here so that it will look like the space when you add up these two will equal the space between them here. I think that's very important for it to look right. If you do not do that, it will not look right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some approximate reference marks. And I've already taken the liberty of kind of looking at this. These tapes are meant to sort of represent the top edge approximately of where the picture will be. So if we take our frame like this, we can kind of visualize it pretty well here. And that would be something just like about like this. And then we'll have some spacing. I think I'm going to probably do 4 inches. It would be really cool to have the same distance in width between them as in height. But unfortunately, that would lead to a picture that's just a little bit too low down here. And we want to make sure that these are at least a reasonable height over on this wall. So as always, when you're doing these kind of layouts, you're going to find there's compromises that you have to make, things that you need to calculate and decide what's more important to you in terms of it looking right. And occasionally you try one way and it just doesn't look great and you go back and do it a different way. This is not my first rodeo hanging pictures in the geometric pattern, so I have some ideas of what will satisfy my OCD needs. Hey everybody, and now you can see behind me, we have a finished product. So it took maybe about an hour, hour and a half. It's all in the planning and the details and taking your measurements and doing the math. I find a lot of times it even helps just drawing it out on a sheet first so you can have an idea of a layout, and that way there's no danger if you mess up, you just toss the sheet and start a new one. Anyhow, take a look. I think it kind of makes a corner that was otherwise boring. Now a place to kind of put this sort of cool artwork. And because I'm a little weird and anal retentive, I started with the lead and then they go across like this, right to left, in distance from the sun. So we have Venus, Earth, Ceres, Jupiter, Europa, and then an exoplanet at the back. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know I've enjoyed doing it, and it's kind of a short, stupid video, but thought it'd be fun and to kind of post something up. And we'll see you next time.